in this episode of Highlight Sundays, Bash, Apple, and Amazon. Hello and welcome back to Highlight Sundays. It is the 39th week of 2014 and here are your highlights. So our PSA this week is something pretty huge. I'm sure you've probably already heard of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you a very quick rundown. The article I'm going to use for this purpose comes from Ars Technica and it's entitled Bug in Bash Shell Creates Big Security Hole on Anything with Whatever Nicks on It. So here's the deal. If you're running Mac OS or any Linux operating system, well, the command line functionality is provided by a program called Bash. And well, recently they've found a pretty big security problem in Bash. Now, if you're a Windows user, Bash doesn't come with Windows, so you're safe in that regard. However, if you've installed any external tools like JIT or Cygwin, well, those come with Bash, so now you're affected. To put it in very simple terms, when one particular command is run, you can actually tack on an additional command to the end of it, and that would run as well, which is something that's not supposed to happen. Because Bash is a general execution tool, that means the effects of this exploit could be pretty far-reaching. That is basically a statement of the entire problem in a nutshell. If you want more information, including information on some potential fixes, then do check out the whole lot of articles I've included for today's description. There is quite a lot of information about this. If you're running a Linux box, well, quite a few distributions have already released fixes. If you're a Mac user, well, Apple has come out to say that they believe most Apple devices are not affected. The top article also comes with a little command that you can try and run to see if your installation of Bash is vulnerable. So yeah, do head down to the video description, lots of information there. So we move on to our next news story. Now, when I collected these articles, well, this article was still relevant, but as of the time of recording it actually isn't anymore, so I'm not going to mention any specific article, but well, you can check out the video description. I will swap in whatever is the most relevant. At any rate, the second biggest issue this week concerns iOS 8. In particular, one upgrade, iOS 8.0.1, was actually rolled out that, well, was kind of buggy and caused some problems. So yeah, depending on what direction you want to take with this, I have instructions for you to actually downgrade to iOS 8 if that is what you want. However, the latest news is iOS 8.0.2 is now available. So yeah, you can choose to upgrade to that instead. So alright, we move on to our next article. This one is more of a novelty than anything else. This article comes from Gizmodo and is entitled Amazon is using the heat from its data centers to heat its new HQ. Well, what happens when you have lots of computers? Well, they generate heat. And if you're somebody big like Amazon with lots of servers, well, the heat can be quite the problem. Amazon has actually found a pretty innovative way to solve this problem. In brief, the heat from all the equipment is actually transferred to water pipes, and well, this water, now warm, can then be pumped to other buildings in the vicinity to warm those places up. It's really like a water cooling system inside your computer, except on a far larger scale, and applied to some pretty interesting applications. Of course, what's cool about this is the fact that, well, the other buildings are also saving on the money that they spend on heating, because of course, now they have essentially free heat. What is also really cool is that this is an idea that can actually be scaled down to homes as well. In particular, I know of one Twitch streamer called Mindflame. He's a pretty serious streamer, so he has this room with a whole bunch of equipment that's generating a lot of heat. And essentially what he's doing is, he has some fans installed, and he's basically just channeling the heat out to the rest of the house to actually help heat up the rest of the house when it's cold. So yeah, several smart and innovative ideas to actually reduce energy consumption that comes about with heating, and of course to cut costs in the meantime. Alright, we move on to our recommendation of the week. Now unfortunately what I have for you today isn't for everyone, but it is something that is pretty cool, especially if you're using it in an academic context. We're talking about a website called WriteLatex.com. Now, essentially LaTeX is a markup language of some sort. It allows you to typeset documents just by using a bunch of plain text commands. However, installing and running LaTeX on your computer might be a bit of a hassle. In particular, LaTeX uses a whole bunch of packages, so you actually have to download every single package you need. Plus, every time you're done typesetting a document, you actually have to compile your markup. WriteLatex actually gets rid of all this hassle. The screen basically looks very simple. You just have two panes, you type your LaTeX on the left, and it renders in close to real time on the right. What this means is you don't have to worry about packages because they have it all in their backend. You don't have to worry about compiling as you go along because, well, WriteLatex does it for you. Now, like I said, this isn't for everyone. You have to actually need LaTeX, otherwise this wouldn't be a very useful recommendation for you. But if you're a student, especially if you're dealing with a lot of math, well, this might be something you want to look into. LaTeX in itself is a language that has a lot of things to it. I mean, just the fact that you can import packages means that, well, this is a very extensible setup. So yeah, there is a slight learning curve associated with actually using LaTeX, but it is something that, well, if you need it, I do encourage you to actually pursue it. Once you're used to it, you'll just use it for every single thing. Anyway, that wraps it up for this episode of Highlight Sundays. Now, just a very quick vlog segment. First, we did the express edition of Highlight Sundays last week. I am of course still looking for your comments on how I can make it better, and if you prefer that format to this, like I said before, the whole purpose of doing that format is to make just shooting and editing a quicker process for me, for the weeks where I don't actually have time to sit and talk to a camera. So yeah, definitely let me know if you have any comments about the format. I am interested in continuing to do this whenever I need to, and I do know I'm gonna get pretty busy for basically the rest of the year, so yeah, this will be a good thing to have. I had this week off, which is why, well, I actually took this time to shoot quite a few extra videos. This will actually expand on my stockpile. It will go all the way to nearly the end of the year, which is a great thing to see. Right before I go, I also want to quickly plug this photo I took yesterday with Bernie Burns of Rooster Teeth. Well, yeah, I'm just showing you this to show off, I guess. Bernie was in Singapore to give a talk, and well, he arranged a meetup, so I just went and got a photo. So there's that. Anyway, that's it. That pretty much wraps it up for this episode of Highlight Sundays. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, you're watching 0612 TV. Hello! If you enjoyed this video, don't forget I appreciate every like, favorite, and comment you give me. If you'd like to see more from me in the future, don't forget to subscribe. For more updates outside of YouTube, do follow my official Twitter account at 0612 TV. And if you'd like to see more of my work, you can also check out my About Me page. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, you're watching 0612 TV.